Boom. Hi, honey.
Hi, honey.
This is, of course, the Thinks,
And
Drinks
pod.
cast. Damn, we're getting good at that. This is episode 5.
Yeah.
Number 5 with video and quarantine, COVID-19. I think I've lost about 19 instead of gained. Ah!
Whoop, whoop.
Hey, you couldn't see it because it was off camera, you douche. How have you been?
I've been doing good, considering. How have you been doing, honey?
Smoking a lot of weed.
Oof. Yeah.
And what's interesting is the research that's coming out now about smoking. You know, so many people are afraid I don't know why necessarily of cannabis, but smoke is smoke at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't feel any different. Still working out. But again, tobacco is tobacco, so it's different chemical makeup. So smoking a lot, working out a lot, really fucking hard. And more importantly, trying to get better at audio and video. More better at audio and video engineering. How are you staying busy?
Working out. I've been cooking a lot. And,
not just cooking. I don't know what you've done lately, but this is some of the best food that you've ever made. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but there's just like food. Food tastes amazing right now. Might be because I'm pretty baked sometimes, but I'm really curious to see what happens after all this.
yeah.
You know, if there isn't, you know, who knows, right? If there isn't after all this, because all the good habits, well, hopefully good habits people are developing now. Well, hopefully, I hope they continue for a lot of folks' sakes,
Yeah.
and not only continue, but you know, are expanded upon, and you know, next thing you know, you forged your own career because the thing that you've been putting off forever, you don't have to do that now because
You have the time.
Yeah, right? There's literally no excuse to not do the thing that you love right now.
Yeah.
So those of you people that are full of excuses, you know who you are.
You don't have excuses anymore.
Like Crystalia said, it's just a look. It's just a look. What have you been watching?
What have we been watching?
We don't watch the same things.
There's literally nothing that I watch that you don't, because he controls the TV.
Oh, I just have better content.
Sure. But we're still doing a rewatch of Walking Dead. Nice job coughing into Mike. Ew. Still doing the rewatch of Walking Dead.
It loses steam around the Terminus story, you know. Really,
they're not compelling.
Steam. Yeah, it's kind of like, oh no, another bad group of cannibals.
Yeah.
Oh no, oh god, more bad shit. And I'm really excited. As much as I didn't love how bloated the Negan arc got.
At least he was a compelling villain.
Right?
Yeah.
Because there was more villains than just the one villain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because with the whole Terminus plotline, it's like, we weren't always evil, but now we are.
And you get to meet new groups of people. You get Oceanside, you get the Kingdom, you get Hilltop, you get all these different groups of people. And so it's not just like, hey, we're walking on a train track.
Well, I've been down on the train track, down on the train track. I'm down on the train track, Walking Dead.
Nice.
You know, it's. Oh no.
Oh no. Let's see. What else have I been doing?
Walking Dead can easily be a parody of itself. That's the problem.
Well, yeah. Been doing a little bit of like revamping of the house.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see in the shot, as you'll see in the interview that we just had, additions have been made, changes have been made. Got really lucky with some stuff at Grocery Outlet that was massively discounted, like convention boxes that would normally cost anywhere between $40 and $80, you know. And I didn't think this Night King did anything, but last night I had to pee at 3 a.m.
Oh, does he glow in the dark?
Fucking creep the shit out of me. This motherfucker. This goddamn. It's a toy. I got up. I was groggy.
And he was just staring
I was
at
just
you.
groggy, like, whoa. Oh, what is that? What? Ah!
Wow, way to peek.
But I was so confused because I thought it was, a spirit or something.
It is.
Something here to haunt me. Because why not? Let's add that to the list of fucking problems too. But no, I looked close and like, oh, I'm gonna have to cover that thing at night.
That's funny.
And funny thing, after I peed, didn't wash my hands. Lumbered back into the living room to get to our bed. Looked over at it, and then stumbled back into bed. But again, a little convention box. This Hand of the King, Jamie's gold hand, came with it, and got some Captain Marvel gear, and so we're getting this place really really geeked out for when it's time and we have the proper studio. We can have a really, really cool setup, and just the right kind of knickknacks. Jordan made a good point that I'm starting to mirror some of my father's behaviors.
You're starting to hoard. You're like, but it's cool and I like it.
But it's not like my dad's stuff. And then she said, honey. And all it took was honey, beat, honey.
Just a look.
Fuck! But we also got a record player from our friends at Vitrola. Definitely check it out. So we're definitely going to be able to do a lot more interesting things with podcasting, especially for, I think on the Patreon, it would be cool to do album reviews, comedy album reviews, music, whatever it is, and be able to do kind of deep dives on all your favorite content that you might like. So if you have vinyl that you think we should check out, get at us. We're attaching an Amazon wish list as well for if you maybe want to tip us, for all the entertainment that we provide you.
So we're gonna do our plugs before, because we actually did an interview over Skype. So our very first guest. So we're gonna do our plugs and then introduce the interview.
Right. It's only 8 minutes. We can take some time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the intro's however long we want. It's like a monologue for
I know, but the interview was pretty long.
Well, not really. It was only an hour 16. Only 76 minutes. That's no time at all. And there's a fucking cherry on top at the end with sprinkles and
you
and
gotta
a
stay
double
till
scoop.
the end.
Oh my fucking god, I was dying.
Wow.
This guy is so goddamn funny and is capable of so much. Fun fact. Jordan grew up with him.
You keep saying grew up with him. We went to high school together, and we were in the same friend group, hung out.
And
then we didn't hang out after high school.
Maybe mention the high school and what you did there, and I don't know, a fucking story.
So everyone knows that I'm from Sacramento. I went to a performing and fine arts high school called Natomas Charter Performing and Fine Arts Academy.
Hey.
Shout out. It was awesome because I basically got a private school experience in public school.
Truth.
But I was always in the fine arts side and he was always in the performing arts side. But
Also true.
My friend group was a big mix of people who did theater, singing, painting, drawing, digital art, band. We had a big mishmash. We didn't have a cliquey group.
And then that's kind of what his name is. Maybe we should drop the name. as well.
Isaac Robinson Smith.
Listen to that fucking name. I mean, IRS, say what you will, but that's a name that I think we won't soon forget, especially if you enjoy show business, voice acting, gaming, theater,
I know.
stage.
I've followed his career since
I'm saying
I left high school.
for
I know.
the audience, Jordan. Jesus.
I think you've had enough talking today.
Sir, you've had enough.
Oh, you guys will see in the interview, Nate does his Nate thing where he'll ask a question and then elaborate on the question for about 30 seconds too long.
Maybe. I like to provide direction with the question, so that way someone might understand what I'm trying to get at, for the sake of the conversation. It does come through. Isaac does. He interviews really well, and Skype interviews, say what you will, or Zoom, or when there's a computer in front of you, and it doesn't always translate. Rogan makes a good argument that it can be kind of awkward because maybe their connection, maybe there's a latency issue, so there's something to be said for having individuals, boom, and right next to you, in front of you, be able to film it really easily. But there's also something to be said that if they know how to interview and know how to chat and can take that step back to let the feed do its thing, let the stream, right? Then you're gonna get a great interview, and fucking awesome and a lot of fun and really, really inspiring.
Definitely.
I really liked
a true artist.
Right, I really liked what he had to say about the people that stuck with him, and who is around still, and who we look, mentors, if you will, and teachers, and just how he was trained. He went to UC Irvine. Is that right? And that's man, you really see the work ethic. Athletes and performers that kind of have an athletic background or have had that were taught at a young age that you need to grind really hard. I'll say this. Isaac is a great example of grinding and really working as hard as possible all the time. And, this cat, he's our age. He's 30. IRS Voices is his website. I was really, really fucking impressed. And what was the name of the quartet?
The Dapper Dans.
The Dapper Dans. He sings in the Dapper Dans, and if you like quartets, does a ton of work on Disney. He's on IMDb. You can check his catalog.
Nate, little known fact about Nate, he has never been to Disneyland.
Not once.
We didn't tell Isaac that. But so, honey, the Dapper Dans is a quartet that solely performs at Disneyland.
I understand that.
Yes.
So you can find him doing a lot of different things.
Yeah.
At a lot of different places.
And you can find video of him.
Absolutely. So, like I say, man, this cat, we're going to be glad we interviewed him, because someday he's going to be in the MCU somewhere, and we're going to be glad. I'm curious, how are you doing with the COVID thing? I suppose we should still address it a little bit, considering that it's still going on. I
mean, here in California, slowly but surely, we're getting more strict rules. No laws have been put into effect except for the shelter in place, but rules. So now we have to always wear a mask when we leave the house.
Yeah.
In Sonoma County.
It's not so easy and or fun.
Yeah.
You can't just go for a drive now and be casual about it.
Yeah, stricter guidelines. Seriously, don't go out unless you need to.
Essential.
Yeah.
Only. Essential travel only. So, and I was wondering when we were at Grocery Outlet, what am I breathing in here? Don't get me wrong, I love Geo, but I don't appreciate how old the building is. It's not new,
and they don't have a lot of ventilation.
Exactly, man. So that's half the problem with our neighbor. She just got a roof done, and I was thinking about all the places that are, have new new ducting, new ventilation, a new roof.
Mm-hmm.
How much structural engineering and contracting is going to be how many people are going to get their shit up to code, or rather up to a more modern edition of their house to avoid not stale air, not just in their home, but also at their business, and generally where those people like to go and do. Because if a place is really stuffy now, I don't know if I want to be there.
Well,
because I don't know again what I'm breathing.
There's a lot of places here in Sonoma County because of the fires that have newer air filters, because you have to change your air filter more often if there's fires and smoke. A lot of homes and people I know bought air purifiers, so that helps. Tons of people have fans. We always have our ceiling fan going.
You gotta dust too, especially these fires in Chernobyl. Oh my God! The fires. Before we shift gears to that, the fires in Chernobyl are making me really aware of what I'm breathing, because, radiated ash and fire. Yeah. Wow! Holy fuck! What a time to be alive! Oh, it's literally an apocalypse.
Hey guys, the planet's on fire. I saw a really funny
and it's
meme.
Radioactive.
I saw a really funny meme about not that the Chernobyl fires are funny, but the meme was funny. It was like a demon that had a piece of paper that said "Apocalypse Bingo," and the news right above it said, Chernobyl fires are stirring up radiation, and the demon was checking off like, oh, got another square on Apocalypse Bingo.
When I read that, I thought it was, an Onion article. No. It's
nope.
There were no onions about this.
There were no onions.
There's nothing silly about what is occurring in Kiev right now. This is if there was ever a sign of global warming, there's whatever title you want to give it, that if the planet is on fire,
climate change.
If the planet's on fire, I'm pretty sure it's the sign of something much greater.
It's not good.
No, man.
Just in general, not good.
And it's so interesting that the fires kind of made their way across the country, or not the country, but the entirety of the world. Because Australia was on fire, Africa is still on fire.
We've been on fire.
America's been on fire. Now Russia, not to mention South America. There's literally. It's so ubiquitous now that you can't be ignorant. I'm apoplectic with rage about this, because there's literally nothing I can do about a fire in a radioactive forest that's so far from me that there's other languages being spoken, and the animals there mutate. For the record.
What I'm really worried about is this week. Parts of Texas have had hurricane warnings, but they're also under shelter in place. So what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, and there was just another natural disaster in the U.S. I think it was a tornado. It wasn't in Tennessee. It was, but that was very, very sad, because families were wiped off face of the earth with that one. But there was oh shit, Kevin Smith is live right now.
Okay.
Right.
Jeez. Stay on. Focus.
Right, I need to focus.
Focus.
But what's crazy is natural disasters are occurring, and I can't help but wonder if fire is just another language of a natural disaster. If it's just another natural disaster that. Yes, it does. It shouldn't occur how it does if it's somehow generated and continued by human influence. But when it just happens naturally with like lightning,
I'd say that's different.
It ignites, dry wood or brush or whatever, and then it's a natural occurrence in that capacity. But fire I'm tired of it being in places that we can do a lot more about it than we're doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Radioactive fire is not helping.
What I was bringing up to you just a couple of days ago is the fact that we haven't had that much rain this year.
This is true.
And so while all of the COVID-19 is happening and shelter in place, we're worried about that because it's happening to us right now. But we're heading into another drought year. And so we need to start worrying about that as well, with everyone being at home. Gardening is great. Do all your yard projects, but be aware of how much water you're using. Turn your faucet off when you're washing your hands for 20 seconds.
Right. You know, I was thinking about it because we have to do laundry kind of uniquely. And the way we're doing it, it's effective, but again, water. You got to really. I was wondering, what systems did people implement into in the Depression when resources were expensive and scarce simultaneously. I was wondering, how the fuck did you do laundry if you couldn't afford a laundromat? Right, bodies of water.
That's like back in the day. But wash basin, you use 1 tub of water, wash it up, and then
use a lot of Myers soap.
Dump it out, wring out all of your soapy clothes, get a clean bucket of water. There you go.
Jesus
It doesn't
Christ.
get the rinciest, but
gross.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Well, you do what you gotta do.
Wow. There's a lot of crazy things in the world going that are happening right now, but we're glad that we can be here to promote and be supportive for everyone. Fun fact, the website is launching today's Wednesday. One of the last days of Passover. Happy Passover, everyone.
Happy Passover!
It'll be up by the end of the week, so I think this will be going up tonight. So I should have the website ready, and then we're gonna be going ahead and starting to schedule gigs and shit. So you'll be able to catch us a lot of places doing a lot of things, and
well, currently you can catch us on our social media.
That's right. You can catch me at nlearnin or at nerdandlearnin on Twitter.
And you can find me at Jordan Channing, JordanChanning, on both.
That's really long.
I know. On both Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to follow my fitness Instagram, that's Jordan, JordanGray, GREY.fit.
Fit. Anything else? I've been loving all the podcasts Kevin Smith has been doing. It's been so fun.
Yeah, we've been enjoying.
It's a lot of free funny during a dark time. I will say he and Mark Bernard together make me want to write and create and do a lot of really interesting things. And I've been loving all the podcasts that have been occurring. Chris D'Elia today, Joe Rogan episode was released, and his special after that. I'm like, oh man.
Oh, his special was fantastic. It just released.
You gotta watch it. If you're not if you're not a fan, become a fan, because I always thought, and I'm gonna do this on.
Oh my God!
Air.
Watch your chords.
See, I've always liked the fanny pack, and reminded it, but I'm a big guy. They don't always fit, so I thought, oh perfect. I don't need to have nothing in my pockets. I can just put my phone, boom. Pipe, boom. Weed, boom. Lighter, boom. And, maybe stash some, I don't know, some snacks or something if you get hungry. And
not just snacks.
be able to carry your bottle of water instead of have to carry a backpack just for a few things. Now, apparently, the person that does this is like the guy who insert here, but apparently like the guy that has one strap fanny pack, over
the
his
shoulder
head,
bag.
The shoulder bag. Fuck you. I thought it was, just efficient. Turns out this is a douche. I mean, I got Avengers underwear. I got an Avengers shirt on. I'm surrounded by nerdy shit. I don't ever think I'm a douche, but in the light of day next to regular looking guys that are, douchebags that would think this is fine and cool. I suppose I'm just a really nerdy douche.
There you go.
And I learned a thing or two because of Chris D'Elia. So you got to watch that special, man. It was fantastic. We checked out Elijah's sketch show. Funny, love her, but I'm just not a big sketch guy.
Nate's not a big sketch person. I laughed. I thought it was funny.
I don't know why I don't like sketch. I don't get it. Rather, I don't get why I don't get it. Because it's funny, it's writing, it's providing jobs.
You like comedic movies. You like stand-up comedy.
Right, I know. It's one of those things that I'm just wondering that is there something wrong with me, or am I just being a cunt again? Like, what am I missing about that thing that people love? As opposed to, and I'm not shitting on it. I don't shit on it. I enjoyed what I saw. I was like,
You're like, good for her. I'm done.
No thanks. But it's a fun program, and Netflix is letting Eliza run around and do Eliza things, and do whatever she wants. So it's been great having that accessible and learning that maybe I'm wrong, but god damn, I really hope it's not me. We did also we have a new addition to our entertainment an analog type. We got a record player, and we listened to a fantastic comedy album.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Martin's
Steve Martin.
Let's Get Small, a 1977 Grammy Award-winning comedy album, and also recorded in San Francisco at the boarding house. And I couldn't believe how much he was talking about poop on the streets then. I couldn't believe it. But that's, I suppose that city's always been kind of gross. So for a bringing it back suggestion, check that out. Absolutely. And if there's any vinyl, again, that you suggest, let us know.
Email us at thinksanddrinkspod@gmail.com. And as per usual, all of our links are going to be down below. Same with our guest links.
Right. That's how they do it. All right, folks. This was a fun almost half hour. We're gonna go ahead and turn thongs. Whoa! Turn thongs on. Hey, going on right now.
We're not gonna do that.
No. We're gonna go and turn it over to our interview featuring Isaac
Robinson Smith.
One more time.
Good.
Isaac
Robinson
Smith.
So enjoy.
Thanks everyone for hanging out. I've been Nate. You've been great.
And I've been Jordan, and nothing rhymes with my name.
Well, that's perfect. I love that. We're with, first of all,
hi, honey.
Of course, this is the Thinks
and
Drinks
podcast.
And today we have coffee as opposed to our usual, booze. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jordan.
And here today who do we have today, honey?
We have an old friend of mine, Robinson Smith.
Hey, hello. Clap everybody.
Thunderous applause. I love it.
Well, since you guys grew up together, I'll let you.
Oh my god.
Listen to this guy. Go ahead.
Well, I wouldn't say we grew up together. We went to high school together.
Yeah.
Way back in the day.
Yeah. It's been a long time. What? We graduated. I don't know. I graduated in 2008. I don't know. I forget what year you were because I knew you were ahead of me.
07.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've known each other for half of our lives.
That's so crazy. I don't like it.
But
a long time.
Yeah, our listeners know I went performing in fine arts high school. I was more in the fine arts, and Isaac was more in the performing arts.
Yes.
And then, so you went on to UC Irvine, right?
Yeah. So I graduated from Thomas Charter, and then I went to UC Irvine, and I went to college there for 4 years and got a degree in theater. And so and then went on to start working after that. So, but yeah, that's my educational background. Always theater my entire life, pretty much. Actually, that's not even pretty much. My entire life has been theater and performance. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you live and breathe. I don't want to just say, but if there's content to be developed, had or enjoyed, you've always been in some, either in front of or behind the camera or microphone.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up on the stage. My mom is the one that introduced me to theater when I was a kid, and ever since then, I've been just in love with performing in any sense. So, plays, musical theater was a big part of my life.
What's your favorite? Cool.
My favorite musical right now. I mean, it's kind of a cop-out answer, but Hamilton, just because one, it is incredibly inventive. I love the story of how it was created. I love the fact that it takes historically non-racially diverse historical figures and completely flips that on its head. So it's like a chance for actors of color like myself to have a show that's an incredible opportunity. And there are just so many things about it that are just so amazing musically and thematically to me. So I just latched onto it pretty quickly. It took me a minute to get into it because I listened to it and I was like, I don't know if I like this. And then I listened to it all the way through and got into what it was about and then really fell in love with it. And then I saw it when it came through LA and it just blew my mind. So, yep, that's my favorite.
I've seen bits and pieces of Hamilton, and I know. I mean, I'm a cisgender, straight, white, Jewish white guy. Like, I'm persona non grata, not diverse, right?
Yeah.
And I mean the Jew part.
What I was really impressed with Hamilton is what Lin-Manuel and his team achieved. What seemed impossible. Next thing you know, Tony's and multiple series and revivals
and a movie
of things.
deal.
Yeah. Well,
right.
It's definitely a testament to kind of how I see and how I view the arts in general. In that, if you have a project, an idea that you want to do, it's not really worth stopping the process just because you don't know if it's going to work or not. Like I remember watching his first exposure of Hamilton to the world was to President Obama at Evening of the Spoken Word, which you can find the clip on YouTube, where he's like, I'm writing this show about Secretary Treasurer Alexander Hamilton. I have one song that I want to perform, and 7 years later it became, Hamilton, or maybe, but it took him 7 years to do the project.
Yeah.
But when I'm in my process of doing what I do, patience has been a very big lesson to learn. So like when I see stories like that, it keeps me influenced and it keeps me inspired.
Can you drop an odd pearl of wisdom as Obama about patience?
I don't do the best Obama.
That's fine.
but I will say that it's very good just to wait and to be very very persistent with your ideas and what you want to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends and individuals, Barack Obama. Thank you very much, Mr. President. That was fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit how you feel about Donald Trump, maybe?
Oh my God, dangerous.
That's getting into some dangerous territory. I don't know if I want to go that far.
I've seen comics that have an Obama impression, though deep as Obama, and just say some of the funniest things you've ever heard. But man, if you're a comic, it's gonna work. But if you're not, it's gonna ruin your career.
Well,
oh my God!
You have like Keegan-Michael Key's.
Oh God!
Like Obama's anger interpreter.
Oh
my God!
My life. So I love those videos.
Yeah, they're amazing.
So in your early years, you did a lot of studying. I'm curious, when you're training, not just your body, but rather your voice, but also your body. Seeing as you're in Disney and you want to be in Captain America shape for a lot of Disney roles, doing for physical fitness, are you dancing, plyometrics, some jujitsu? What's your regiment like?
Well, for me, it's interesting because working at I've worked for Disney in multiple capacities. I mostly have worked at the parks, and I want to be in projects that are big like that. But for me, I always have had I've loved voiceover my entire life, so I really don't. I have an interest in on camera, kind of, but it's not as big as it is for voiceover. However, I will say, coupled with that I am very now very thoughtful of just my health in general. About 4 or 5 years ago, I started I did, the Insanity program. This is not a plug for Insanity, but it's great.
Oh yeah.
And it works. So I did Insanity twice, a 60-day program, and then I've been doing Sean T's other workout videos, T25, a few times a week, just to stay maintained. But all that is to just keep myself healthy. And I think that that's really important just for my work in general, because I need to stay healthy to make sure that I'm ready to perform and have the endurance. Because there are some things that I have done on stage that require a lot of endurance to, like this last summer, I was in a show called Tale of the Lion King at California Adventure, and I was lucky enough to play Simba in that show.
Congratulations. I believe we heard about that on Instagram.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely showed that with you. I was like, this is the guy.
And then I realized I should probably get him on the podcast.
But that show was, it's a 25-minute show, but it was out in the sun with no shade, and there's running around, and there's dancing, and there's very physical movement. So had I not been... What's that?
You're wearing a wig during it too. So
I am wearing a very heavy wig. Yeah. So had I not been keeping myself in good physical condition, I may not have been able to maintain that. And it just gives me a better overall sense of stability when it comes to, I guess it's like anything that you want to do where you have to be focused, because if you're not taking care of yourself on the health side, then, no matter what you want to do, it's not going to be as good as you want to do when you're not, staying conditioned, staying healthy, things like that. Right. So yeah.
I'm impressed, man. You're really pushing yourself to a limit that, a lot of MMA practitioners or any kind of combat sports, that's generally what they do for not just body development, but cardio, because it's all rooted in biometrics essentially. And that's
exactly.
Dude, that's gonna an explosive range of motion is gonna keep you ready for, jumping and dancing and singing.
That also really ties into, like, you have to be fit for your job. Like, that's your...
Yes. I know that I want to stay fit because all of the opportunities I've been lucky enough to do with Disneyland are challenging to certain extents. They're unexpected. There are things that I could be asked to do that I'm not. There was one day where I did I do 3 shows at the park, and I did 2 of them in one day because I had to go back and forth because I needed coverage. But just, even just mentally being for something like that is something I want to be good with. So,
wow.
Yeah. You're also part of the Dapper Dans, right?
I am, yes. I sing lead in the Dapper Dans barbershop.
Congratulations.
Group. Thank you. That's been a dream job of mine for a long time, and I've been doing it for about 4.5 years now. Which, if anybody's listening or watching, we're doing a really cool video series that is up. The first one is up online. There's going to be more. And Disney World has been doing this, but it's called Voices from Home, where because of the current situation, the Dapper Dans have been singing from their homes, and then they've been put together online. So we kind of, as quartets, come together to create, the music that we made in the park, but you can see it from your house. It's very cool.
That's really cool.
So awesome. I actually grew up doing choir myself. Maria High School here in Sonoma County. Learned to sing really well. I've been playing music for 20 years. So to hear that, we have that in common, man, I'm glad we're doing an interview right now. I'm curious, with all your musical training, I found it really useful, especially for like, because death metal, say what you will, it's that those are some of the most difficult voices that you can learn, and it's a lot of training. And I'm curious, your training probably has readied you for a lot of harshness whenever you're performing in the booth. And I'm curious what's a piece of wisdom that you would or advice that you'd share people for vocal recovery and more importantly growing your vocal cords in a capacity that it hurt as when you're performing?
That's a great question. I'm kind of in an anomaly in that I've been imitating voices since I was a kid. So like my vocal cords have just gotten used to shifting and changing over time. But I will say that it is very important to, at least this is a big lesson that I learned, especially doing a show recently at the park, but also doing stuff in the booth, is to just know when you are not ready to move forward or not ready to push past the limit, because there's the age-old adage that, like, your voice is your instrument, especially if you're in a field like voiceover or singing or anything like that. And so I would say that I think just for me, it's not anything more complicated than just listening to your body and knowing what's going on. And I'm pretty in tune with when I feel right and when I don't feel right, or when I know that I need to look at something or get something figured out. But there are a lot of techniques to make yourself sound different, make yourself modify your voice and not harm yourself at the same time. Right. There are different placements in. I mean, I was going to relate it to your death metal comment, because people that sing that stuff, people that sing, because I've heard music. I've heard that music. People that sing that stuff,
especially in Sacramento, dude. Holy shit, the metal scene there. Holy fuck. Yes,
what's amazing
or like Metalocalypse,
Yeah. There's, I think, a good example that I don't know what category to put them in, but there's oh shoot, I'm trying to remember the band right now. Disturbed did Sound of Silence, which I don't know if you've heard cover that, but it's a Simon and Garfunkel song, and they covered it. But what's amazing is you can hear, because he starts off with this beautiful, very trained vocal sound, and then he moves into the raw, real, the gritty sound, but you can tell that it's controlled and it's still trained. So I think it's just practice over time, knowing what your voice can do and training yourself to do it without harming yourself, and you can go for a large amount of time doing those sorts of things and making it's kind of like doing vocal illusions, is what I would say. One that I can do right now is it's going to sound like it harms my voice, but the one sound that I know of is doing parrot. It's going to sound weird, but doing parrots and zombies is the same sort of technique, at least for me. Which the way you do it, but you don't push air out, you inhale air in, and that's less harmful for me. So doing a parrot squawk, I'm inhaling air, so go, inhaling air that way, but that doesn't hurt as much as pushing forward, pushing the sound out. Whoa. And as far as doing that sort of sound with like a Left 4 Dead or Last of Us zombie kind of sound, I've auditioned for things like that.
Did you audition for Last of Us 2?
I can neither confirm nor deny any of that information.
Okay. Calm down.
Spoiler alert. Thinks and Drinks podcast ruins Last of Us 2. So it's like Kevin Smith, everything is news. Like, it's not news, it's just a question.
So to do something like that, I don't know what I just kind of a creepy stalking kind of sound would be something like. But that's all just inhaling air.
I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, but that's the kind of stuff you get to do that you can discover about yourself. And these are that's my own way of doing it. There could be a million other ways that other people can do it that also are good for their voice. But just knowing your voice and knowing what you sound like and knowing what you can do, that's kind of the basis of it. And then you can just go from there and have fun.
Spending a lot of time with sound is it's the hardest part to get past, once you get past it, it's such a valuable tool to realize that, well, maybe when I do this or say this way, or there's so many ways to say something, but
right.
The combination of words may just not sound right for that voice, because there's so many beats.
Yeah.
And that's what's so fascinating, especially with stage production. We started for Happy Passover. I don't know if you're Jewish at all. But with that in mind, we started watching Jesus Christ Superstar with Tim Minchin, and I cannot believe for a production of that quality and that many people, I can't believe how many jobs and how many people have to be paying attention all at once. Because Jordan made a really good point about not just live music but live theater, opera. She made a great point that it's that you find a lot of addicts in it because you really truly do feed off of the energy that they give. And you're
it's also like high stakes, and so you see the people that are craving like that danger but don't actually want to be in danger. They just it's high stakes, it's live theater.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of it, is that anything can happen and anything will happen, and I really enjoy that challenge of live theaters because I've been doing it my whole life, but and that's where I get my excitement from doing it, is because there's no saying of anything that could go completely unexpected or in completely wrong direction, or you have to improvise this part because somebody else forgot a line, or you have to. But what's amazing is all of my skills and what you were saying, excitement and danger, everything from my stage experience completely funnels into my voiceover. Like everything I've learned as an actor is involved in voiceover. There's nothing that I'm leaving out when I do this work. So
whom have you studied that might be of note? Professors, students, and anyone that got you to where you are today, or some things that stuck with you, people that you're still friends with?
Are you talking voiceover, or are you like just my life in general?
What life in general? What a practice? If there's individuals that are still,
Yeah. So I'll
involved.
kind of a Cliff Notes version of it. Starting from our high school, Natomas Charter Performing and Fine Arts Academy.
Shout out.
You remember James Travis Gleeka, Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he had a big impact. He was the one that got me into my first shows when I was there, and really kind of instilled the notion to me that anything was possible with what I wanted to do. And he really saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself. So that was very important, and I still remember that. And then moving forward into, I guess it really starts off with my mom, who introduced me in theater when I was a kid, and it's been, she's been in theater her entire life. So and all of us have been in performing to some extent. I'm the only one in our family that is pursuing acting full time. But everyone in our family has done performance or still is doing things. Like my sister, out of the kids that my mom has, my brother is a newscaster, so he anchors the news, which is amazing. My sister Sarah, who is a Fulbright scholarship recipient, is now the dean of a college in Canada and has her doctorate in theater and has published a few books. My sister Emily. There's a couple that I don't know the titles of. The only one that I remember is called Mama Dada, which is a book. It's her dissertation on Dadaist theater and Gertrude Stein. Very I can't even understand half the things that are in it because she's so smart and she's so intelligent. But she's incredible, and so is her partner Lena. They both live up there in Canada. Wow. And my sister Emily, who lives here in California in Davis, she was a professional dancer, now owns her own professional massage therapy business. Her husband teaches theater at high school. Both of their kids are involved in different things. So it allows you with performers in this and theater people in this family. But starting with my mom being super supportive, never saying, I hope you have a plan B, that kind of thing, which I've seen before from other parents, but she's always been like, no, I know you're going to do this. I know you want to do this. This is in our family. This is so integral to our family structure that, of course, performing is what you're going to do. So it's been great. So starting with that support system, moving to more support in high school and also singing at my church back there. And then in college, I just took a lot of great classes. I met some of the best friends in my life there. Sure. I still am connected with, who are doing projects that I see and can be involved with. And then moving into my professional career, Disneyland has been a huge step forward in connect with different people. I remember when I first started there almost 10 years ago, I took a class from a guy named Brian Nefsky. Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Look at you, dude. That's a big deal, man.
I took a class from a guy named Brian Nefsky, they have cool things at Disneyland called cast conservatories, where you can learn different disciplines in the arts for free for cast members who can take these classes. And a guy named Brian, he was teaching a class on voiceover, and so I was like, oh, I can't believe I'm seeing this flyer, I'm just in the right place at the right time. And Brian is the casting director for Walt Disney Imagineering. So Brian casts all the voices you hear, all the Disney and all the ride actions and all the like safety videos and all that stuff. He's like one of the guy that casts all those things pretty much worldwide.
That guy can make your career.
Yeah. So I took his class. I liked him. I kept emailing him every couple of weeks saying, I'm really interested in this life. I want to audition. Started sending me auditions. And then my last year of college, he sent me an offer. A project called Agent P's World Showcase Adventure, which is a mobile game you can play in Epcot at Disney World. And that was a professional voiceover job that I've ever had. And I got to record it at Walt Disney Imagineering. And the rest is history. So I've known him for almost 10 years now. And so that led to just having more experience in voiceover, which led to taking more classes from really amazing people, like another one, Bob Bergen, who is been the voice of Porky Pig for about 30 years. And he's done thousands of projects. And you should definitely look up on his website. He's got a couple videos on Vanity Fair of him like making up voices and talking about voiceover. He's phenomenal. He's been one of my teachers. And so it's Bob like Bob, B-O-B, and then Bergen is B-E-R-G-E-N. And there was sort of a kinship that we shared because one of his first jobs in LA was being a tour guide at Universal Studios, which is also one of my first jobs in LA. Mm-hmm. I was a tour guide for about 3 years and was at Universal up until this November. And Universal also was a huge stepping stone because each of these theme park jobs that I've had, I've done many shows at Universal, many shows at Disneyland, but they've all given me more fuel and more focused skill to go forward with what I want to do, because it's taught me confidence and it's taught me how to carry myself when it comes to auditions, and it's taught me how to push forward in moments when I don't think that I have what I should have when I'm on stage or being in front of people, So just all of this has been teaching me, and I feel like I'm always a student, so that's how I always want to carry myself when I'm going through this. Even when I get things like Final Fantasy VII, I still see that as I see that as a stepping stone. I don't see it as like, I've made it. I see it as like, great, I'm now in the next place. What's the next thing to do? And I think I'm always going to feel that way because I never want to feel like somebody that's like, I've done this. Now I'm going to start teaching or, just not doing anything anymore because now I've done all what I need to do and I don't need to contribute anymore. I always want to keep moving forward. And that's why, now that I'm saying that people that teach have stopped, because I highly value people that like Bob and like other people that I love that use teaching as a way to show what they've done and to give us experience and to give us inspiration, but also to see that they're working just as hard as we are to do what they want to do. Because we see videos of them auditioning and setting up their booths and talking about sessions and talking about the union and all this stuff. So it's so cool that everyone's integrated and everybody's giving back. I think that's a big piece of the voiceover community that I love so much.
Steve Bloom, per your point, has actually been doing some cool voiceover courses of how you can get started. And I attended the introductory course, and you're absolutely right. It is a community that people that are willing to hear it and that want to be a part.
Yeah,
that you mentioned that.
Yeah, it's been really great. And there's another person that I have to mention. So Brian and Bob. There's another guy. They're all B names. There's a guy named Bill that I know who's a good friend of mine, and I'll kind of explain him, and then I'll explain what he does. But Bill, I met about 2 years ago, and he is also a voice actor, and he is a very important voice actor in my world. And I kind of met him on accident, actually, because I was hosting a show at California Adventure for the Food and Wine Festival, and I happened to be with the other performers, but I got separated from them, and Bill was near me, and he invited me to talk with them and with them. But Bill and Cammy are super important to me and important to a lot of people, because Bill, his name is Bill Rogers, and Bill has been the announcer voice for Disneyland Park for 29 years almost. So since 1991, Bill has been the guy that says, "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in just 5 minutes." He's been that guy. He's been the voice
He's
you
the
hear
only one we've ever heard in our generation.
Exactly. Yes. So 90s, he's the guy, and his wife Tammy is the California Adventure. But Bill has been somebody that has been mentoring me and talking to me, and it's just been an unreal situation because as a fan of Disney since I was a kid, if you'd have told me when I was 8 years old that at 30 I would be working at Disneyland, shows that I love, and also really good friends with the voice of the park and learning from him, I still can't believe it. It still makes me excited. So, but he's also somebody that I have to highlight. So.
You know some powerful people, man. I'm looking at Bob Berg MTV right now, and this dude has been working, not just a job, but this dude has been. What's his house like? I bet it's nice.
I've only seen a little bit of it from his Instagram and from videos that he's done, but he does have a really. I mean, you can just tell from the stuff in his house. Like he's got a big statue of Porky in one of his rooms, and like these really cool masks of famous actors or facial casts of actors from history. Just he has a very, from my perspective, he has a very storied career and a lot of history with what he's done, and he reflects that in the things that he has. So, but it's great to see him still play and still be an actor that really is in touch with who he is and what he brings to each character and the heart that he brings to each character, and it's just very inspiring to watch him perform and watch him teach. So I cannot recommend his class enough, and it's probably the reason why it's about a 3-year wait list right now for his class to get in, because he's so
really.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Shit, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Should we do we have is there any questions that you have before we get into Final Fantasy VII? Because we're about to get in it.
Well, I think before we even bring up Final Fantasy VII, we have to bring up Voltron.
What?
Oh, right.
All right, I already have your IMDb pulled up. I've been waiting.
Well, if you want to, yeah. And also my website irsvoices.com has my stuff on there.
Your catalog.
Yes, or at least the things that I can.
Would you use Squarespace, Wix?
I use Squarespace, but this is also a good place to talk about my friend Jake Novak, also a singer, also an actor. He's a writer, but he's a website designer. He designed my website, so he used Squarespace. But just he's phenomenal, amazing design, great communication, great writing. He's a comedy writer, so he knows exactly how to describe everybody, make it personable to them. So if you're looking for a good website designer, Jake Novak is the guy.
Dude, that's a fucking plug, dude. That's awesome. irsvoices.com. First of all, I don't know if I like IRS.
That's his initials.
I'm aware of that, but you like. I bet there are some people that read your initials like, oh fuck.
Yeah. It's either that or I just get a lot of money. It's either way.
Hey, how about that stimulus? Hey.
I know that. Yeah.
Man. Yes. Honey.
So, well, first of all, how did it feel when you got Voltron?
It was weird because I hadn't ever been in an animated show before, so it was an incredible feeling, and it was it's so feels so typical of the voice of the business of just how things happen unexpectedly. This is going to sound like it doesn't connect, but I was doing a class with a guy named Charlie Adler, who's also a hugely impressive voice actor. And I loved his teaching method. He's just like no holds barred, just gets right to the point. Doesn't cuts through everything. Gets exactly who you are, make better. And he to the listeners and to Charlie was the voice of let's see, I'm trying to remember.
IMDb up right now.
IMDb up.
Yeah. Well, what was it? Harley Quinn, the new series, The Rocketeer, Spider-Man. How far back are you?
Back in the 90s, Cow and Chicken.
Cow and Chicken. Whoa.
Oh, that show was wildly inappropriate for kids.
Yeah. I know. It's Devil and I can't remember if it was voice Chicken also, but I know he was at least those two.
Oh wow, those are classic. Spawn as well.
He was also Ickis in All Real Monsters. That show from the 90s. You remember?
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Charlie.
that show scared the shit out of me. Holy shit! So, wow, you work with this gentleman Charlie Adler, regular or rather study with him?
I studied with him two of his classes, and he's incredible as well. I mean, everybody that I've worked with is just phenomenal. I could go on and on about everybody that I talk with. But so I took his class, and I brought in an audition that my intern sent me. And what's great is we get to workshop real stuff that we're working on. So I went in and I workshopped this audition that I had. Then I took that workshop. I took the memory of that workshop that I'd done into my agent, and just like any other audition for voiceover, I took it in and auditioned. And then voiceover is weird. You can hear about things as early as the same day or the next day if it's a commercial that's recording in a couple of days or a week, or it could be, in my case, I auditioned for Voltron. Didn't really know what it was. I just knew that it was a character for an animated show for DreamWorks. And then fast forward to doing Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios, which I had done 5 years. I was walking to get ready to go and get in a costume for Halloween Horror Nights, and my agent called, or email rather, I think one of the two. And they said, "Hey, Isaac, we just want to let you know that DreamWorks wants to bring you in for Adam on Voltron. You booked the role about a year ago, but we couldn't schedule at that point. So now we're letting you know that you have it, and we're going to try to schedule you for recording." So that's how long it can take sometimes.
Oh, wow.
That's insane.
I'd be pissed.
Yeah. But I mean, there are some things that there are projects that my friends are doing that they've either done or started or thought about or in development that years of time go into making these things. Like I'm part of another animation that won't be debuting until next summer, and I started recording it last April. So it's a long time.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Or last year, it's about a year ago at this point, I was beginning to get into production with it. Been working on it for about a year, season one. But it won't be debuting until next year. So, that's kind of gives you the time frame of what these things take. It's a long process. But anyway, so I auditioned for it, booked the role, and then about 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I can't remember, I went in to do the first episode that Adam was part of, which is very cool because I got to meet some really cool. I didn't work with them directly because all lines kind of got recorded individually to a certain extent. We did some of the, I didn't just do Adam, though. I did some kids in the classroom. I did some announcing voices. I did some other stuff throughout the episode. But for those it's called walla or looping, just the voices that are kind of the background voices. Mm-hmm. We did all together, but I got to work with, or got to meet Jeremy Shada, who's, one of the main actors in Voltron. And I got to meet Josh Keaton, who's really, I like a lot. And I didn't know some of his credits are amazing too. He was the speaking for young Hercules in the Disney Hercules in 1997.
Whoa.
So been doing and Spider-Man and stuff. So anyway, just to be in the company of such amazing and prolific actors, as well as the fact that it was DreamWorks, which was amazing. All of that was just so overwhelming. I think where it really hit me, though, was when I was in the studio, because for this show specifically, typically in an animated show or even a video game, the voice performance comes first and then the animation comes second, and that's usually how it works.
Right.
There are different versions of animation, though, like or other things like that, where the animation is already done and it's already produced, or it's been recorded in another language already. And so that's how it was for Voltron. I don't know if it was necessarily recorded in. I know, but what I did was that into an already animated product. So the hard part was I had to do what's called ADR, or automated dialogue replacement, where the visual is on the screen. There are 3 beeps, and then on the 4th imaginary beep, I start talking. So I have to match the length of time. I have to match the lip flaps as best as I can, but also have the arc and integrity of the character, as well as the intention of the scene within the time frame, to make sure it all lines up. And I have to do that for every single beat and every single line. But I think where it really hit for me emotionally was when I was watching the playback after doing one of those takes, and I was looking at these gorgeous HD screens in the studio, and it's like, wow, this animated character that's my voice is coming out of that, and it's so weird. Always weird, but it's always and incredible to me. So it was really astounding to see the impact that character had. Like, I still am seeing, fan art and people messaging me that are fans saying, I'm so happy that, Adam was there. We're so sorry that he had to, and spoiler alert for people that watch the show, but he doesn't make it. So I did that first episode, then I came back and did the second one, and then that was it. And then the episode aired, and I had to keep it secret. I couldn't talk about really anything about
The Last Stand Part 2. Is
yes.
that for the episode?
I think that's it. I have to look. It's two separate episodes, but I think The Last Stand Part 2 is one of them. I should know.
I mean, it was 2 years ago, bro.
Yeah, but it's been great, and I think what's even cooler is the fact that fans respond to it, and because I do this for myself, obviously, because I adore this work, and this is all I want to do for the rest of my career. But I also do it because, and I say this multiple times to people, I say if I can create a character that's kids that are like 8 or 9, that are kids like when I was a kid, doing those voices and imitating. If I can create characters that kids are imitating, that's something that I've made, then I feel like I will have made significant impact. And that's all I want. I want people, and kids especially, to respond to characters I create, and then I'll feel, obviously I want, financial stability and all that, and that'll come with time.
Sure.
But I, on a side note, I am very lucky to say that my entire livelihood is based on performing. I don't have any day jobs, side jobs, or side hustles, or anything. Like, my entire life is performance. And
Awesome.
And that's tough, especially in the acting world. Comics are always gonna work on the weekends and probably have to pick up some work here and there. Same with podcasters, but if you're relying on being in, like, I don't want to say in front of the camera, or if you're not in some kind of like support, a supportion of a production where you're the talent and you're trying to be talent, that's without a job, that's good for you, dude. That's a feat.
Yeah, well, I take it on. I take it on faith a lot of the time. I just have to believe that what I'm doing is right. And what's been amazing for me, and this is not, obviously no one is the same, but for me, I've noticed that all of the amazing things that have happened in my life have happened to put effort. I put time and hard work into it, but I haven't tried to force my. I've just done the work that I can, had good work ethic, made good relationships, and that's yielded good results every time. So things have sort of done to. It's been turning from me seeking things out and going for things, and sort of turning around to things coming back to me and things being offered to me. So I'm seeing the result of my work that I've been doing for the last several years. So it's been good, but
it's amazing.
I should have asked how old are you?
I'm 30. I'm 30.
Oh, okay. All
yeah.
Right. Oh, right.
We're very similar ages.
Yeah. You're at that age that you see the hard work in your 20s. If you did work hard in your 20s, it's starting to pay off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Man, that's fascinating. And I love talking to people about all their various projects and what they enjoyed about it and what they didn't, highs and lows of a project. But you've also been a producer, and you've been on stage. You've been a barbershop band, and I guess you can kind of, it's not really, it's not instruments necessarily.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I do play piano.
Of course you do.
Mm-hmm.
God damn. Are you single?
What's that?
Are you single?
I'm dating at the moment, but I'm not like I'm not like really exclusive at the moment, but I am on the dating scene.
Hey, what's that like with someone that because you're hammering every day at Disneyland doing something for Disney.
You mean not teen time?
Right, that's fucking true, huh? Well,
yeah.
That's not what their significant other. We all know what they're doing.
Oh my god, inappropriate.
Hey,
yeah.
Jesus. But when you're spending all your time at your various places of work, especially in Los Angeles, I'm sure you're getting some really unique perspectives of how relationships exist and how they develop, and
yeah.
the universe you're in, voice acting and performing in general.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, I guess I'm going to retract what I just said a minute ago. I am not. We haven't like publicly said that we're exclusive, but there is somebody that I've been seeing, consistently for a little bit now, which has been good. But it's been interesting because yes, the balance can be tricky because I work a lot and I'm really busy a lot of the time, and not that I necessarily feel like I have to choose, but it can be hard to be like, oh, well, I have all these things I do, and I also have to make room for the person that I'm seeing or the relationship that I'm in. But I also am very empathetic for my friends and the people that I want to stay in contact with. So it's kind of like just trying to stay in all those pools at one time is really hard because my brain gets jumbled and I want to make sure that I'm seeing everybody. I want to make sure that I'm giving my energy to the right people, but also saving energy for myself. So it's been a learning curve for me, honestly, because I come from, I'm from Sacramento, as you know, and the pacing is different here. It's faster, and there's a lot of people trying to do a lot of things at one time. So, but what I feel lucky in that, and I feel proud in the fact that I haven't really settled into that sort of. I mean, I've settled into that pace mentality and that fast-paced way of living, but I still kind of have my Northern California sensibilities of, staying focused, staying true to who I am and not getting swept up in a lot of things just because it's surrounding me so much of the time. Yeah. So I tend to, when I think about at least relationships, I tend to be very intentional and very forthcoming in my wants and what I want from somebody else. So I'm not really like, I guess dating just to date is not something that I'm really a fan of, and just kind of seeing somebody casually just to see them is not really something that I'm a fan of. Which is not I'm not berating anybody that does do that because it's totally a lifestyle that works for somebody else. But just for me personally, I kind of look at it as I'm focused on what I want to do for my work and what I want to do to fill my soul. But also I want to look for somebody that can kind of recognize that and go along that journey with me, but also have their own intention and their own goals and their own drive for what they do. So I'm sort of looking for all of that and trying to somebody that understands the arts. And luckily with the person that I'm currently seeing, it's that exists. So things are looking good for that sort of dynamic.
That's so fascinating because mental health, one of the I guess macro components of the Thanks and Drinks podcast brand is promoting the best mental health for the individual and individuals involved, whatever you're in, and whatever it might be. And show business is a cruel mistress, and it can really eat you up, swallow you whole, and sometimes you don't even get spat out, and you just end up stuck in the system. And always being told you're gonna get the next thing, but you never get the next thing, but you're still, hammering and doing. And it's interesting to hear you talk about how much you have to grind and the sacrifices you have to make, to
it's interesting to say that because I never really felt like I had to make sacrifices necessarily, but definitely the grind is real. I think one thing that keeps me sane is keeping a community of people that I love and a community of people that I can trust and that I can fall back on, which is really helpful to me. But also, I will say to couple off with mental health, therapy has been a big component.
Hey. We love therapy.
Right. There you go.
but that's not just from the artistic sense, but also just from my own personal life. There are things that I want to deal with because I want to make sure I'm the best that I can be. And I've done a lot of work to get to where I am now, to remove a lot of things that have gotten in my way before, or have made me feel like I'm stilted. Along with staying consistent with what I want to do with my career. So.
Man, you're a role model amongst role models. I suppose we can get to it. Jordan didn't grow up with Final Fantasy VII. She had no idea who this Sephiroth guy was, why his hair was so fucking long, why his sword is stupid. What is this? So, in lieu of this, what I didn't know that you were in Final Fantasy 7, the remake, and you shared on an upload on Instagram that hey, not Last of Us 2, but watch
God.
yeah.
You shared the information, and then she was like, all right, I'll check this out. Next thing you know, we went back and we're watching the whole catalog of the Final Fantasy 7 universe because we don't know how long the remake is going to be. You might, but I'm not going to ask you about that, because if this first 15 hours of cutscenes was just in Midgar, there's a lot of story left to tell, right? So I figured let's have Jordan learn the whole story in this alert and the prime timeline, because now apparently we're doing multiple timelines now, and it's been so fun to rewatch. And first of all, your performance was awesome as a reporter.
Oh yeah, we paused it, rewatched it like 3 different times.
Great.
I gotta ask, were you much of a Final Fantasy VII nerd? SquareSoft, Square Enix gaming? Did you just enjoy watching games? What? Who are you when it comes to gaming? There's a few credits in your catalog, and there's games. So with that in mind, I'm curious. Please, before I rudely interrupted you.
No, it's all right. So for me, I've always loved video games, but I didn't have exposure to them to be able to play them early because I wasn't allowed to have video games actually in my house for a very long time. And it wasn't until around the era of the GameCube that I got my first hands on being able to actually play them, in my house. But I saw them and I played them at my friend's house all the time. So when I saw an N64 and I knew what it was, I was like, oh, this is great. I need to do this a lot.
Jordan said the same thing.
Yeah, I also wasn't allowed to have video games growing up.
Yeah.
So only played at friends' houses.
Yeah, exactly. So I saw and I've been aware of the Final Fantasy franchise, but I actually honestly have never played them up until this point. I knew they existed and I knew about them and I knew their impact. But as far as gaming for me goes, I kind of came into my own with it. And I'm not like a gamer like all the time. Like I don't do it like a huge amount of my time, but I really do like it when I do. Like then there's specific games that I really enjoy. Like right now I played through like the Arkham series for Batman, which I loved.
What a beautiful game.
Yeah. And when BioShock Infinite was released, I was like, what is this series? How did I not know about this before?
Would you kindly?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I actually used that end monologue, BioShock 1, in a workshop just to workshop some dramatic reads, which is very cool. Yeah, I found the text on
right.
What's that?
Oh, script, right?
Yeah. And what was another one? Portal 2, the Portal series, just phenomenal to me. I love those games. And The Last of Us, we're playing again the remastered one right now, actually. But yeah, so I think my experience in gaming is just whatever appeals to me and whatever seems like a great story. That's what I kind of attach to, which is why Final Fantasy, when it came out, and I realized how much of the world loved it, I was like, oh, this is something you'd probably get in on, because this is something that has been affecting people for many, many years.
Yeah, so, 23 years, right?
I was about to say decades.
And when I got the email that I got it kind of just took me by surprise. I was like, what? Final Fantasy, okay. And, but I didn't know what I was playing. I didn't know what I was going to be doing until I got to the studio. So,
wow, that's so cool, man. So you've clearly played the original, the OG that was released in '97. Is that my understanding?
I have not played.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I'm disappointed.
Oh jeez.
I'm curious then, seeing as you're not near as acquainted as I am. What are you excited with this remake? Of course, there's some things you can't say, I'm sure, but with remake and the technical achievement of it all and how beautiful, some of the frames are. What I'm curious. What do you think is going to, seeing as gaming is now as good of quality as HBO programming and certain films, what do you think is next for, I don't want to say next generation technology, but maybe of art forms? Are we going to be integrating all art forms in gaming, television, and films?
I don't know what the next step is. I know that the integration, like you said, I think is definitely on the horizon of how it's all going to come together. I think one trend that I've definitely seen, and I think Final Fantasy probably did it before its time, given the cutscenes, from the original games. But I think when I watch video games, or when I interpret video games from when I was a kid up to now, I think the 90s and before, it was sort of like, the platforming games and the fun characters and the really fun adventures and all that. Yeah. But what I love, and what's a really good sign for voice actors, is that video games are incredibly cinematic now. Like you said, you mentioned movies, and I think that people are attaching to that because they want to feel more involved in a story, rather than just sitting back and killing a few hours playing a really fun game. They feel swept up in a storyline and characters that they can attach to, just like a film. So I think that possibly go even to the extent of maybe, I don't know how they would do it, but if you said HBO quality, it'd be cool if they were like an HBO show that you could decide how things happen, or you could manipulate it somehow. I think that's being experimented with. But I love how, what's that?
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah. Kind of like that Bandersnatch thing.
Yeah.
For,
Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I love is the fact that I think that they're treating it more of a serious, not that it wasn't a serious art form before, but I think that they're seeing what it does to people and how people react and how people really love what they're doing and love what the stories and what the characters can mean and how they can attach to each person. And I feel just really lucky to be part of something so widespread and so impactful. And not to mention the fact really financial standpoint, because I read this article, video games have made more money than any other art form ever. More money than movies, more money, billions of dollars come from video.
Wow.
So obviously people like it, and it's what people want to see more of. So I think that I think the sky's the limit with this, what they can develop, because with the years of development that went into this remake, how incredible the advancement was in technology and look and story and all that. So
I don't know how much Electronic Entertainment Expo, but Final Fantasy VII has been revealed at 5 E3s now. So there's been different versions of Unreal Engine that we've seen, and it's only gotten better and better and better over the years. And even before this version of the Final Fantasy remake, the engine, I was still I'm here for it. Take all the time you need, please. Don't fuck this up.
Yeah. And I think that they have the time now to do that. They're listening to us, and they know they're like, yeah, we hear you. We want to give you what you deserve.
Well, look at Sonic, the film.
Seriously,
the studio that I don't know if it was a marketing employee to get people involved and interested in the first place, because it definitely fucking worked. But even if it wasn't, kudos on the producer, and the executive producers, and everyone that has a say. I'm sure there was a lot of studio meddling too, probably. Everyone that has a say, kudos on listening to the fans and realizing that, maybe this isn't.
Well, it literally fan service the movie.
Seriously.
I only watched the Looper. They did the video article of explaining the ending and whatnot. But man, what a fun film! Jim Carrey apparently just had all the fun. Got to do what he was doing in the 90s. But I haven't seen. I'm curious. You mentioned The Last of Us. I'm not going to ask you about necessarily working, but you're clearly a fan. Jordan's a fan. She was not a fan at first, but she loves pathology because she's a creepy weirdo.
Oh my god, thanks.
with The Last of Us, I'm curious, as a fan, what are you expecting to see with that property?
I'm sort of in the mindset of not having a lot of expectation. And I know that's kind of a cop-out answer, but I really do feel that because I like to be surprised and I like to be, I like being expected when it comes to things like that. Like I don't want to know too much about what's coming out or what's happening. Like especially if there's a movie that I like, I maybe watch one of the trailers or a teaser trailer. Right. But what I'm expecting, I guess if I had to put expectation on it, or what I'm hoping is, maybe more backstory into the virus itself. Maybe more backstory into the characters that we got to know in the first game. Tommy. Possibly I would kind of like to see, I mean, I guess they sort of did this a little bit, but I would love to see a version of the game where they kind of how they took the Arkham series and it's like you have Arkham City and you have that game, but now we're going to give you all of Arkham to explore however you want. Like it'd be cool to give you like all of San Francisco, all of New York, or all of like Tokyo to explore in this like zombie-ridden world and see what the side missions could be, or like how you could survive, like opening the store and it's got somebody, you know, stuff like that, more open world. So that's maybe what I expect from number 2, but I don't want to put too much out there because I just want to be surprised.
Yeah, that's true, man. Neil Druckmann, the creative director for The Last of Us, I'm sure you know, of course, all of knows, even gaming, the adaptation from console to screen.
Yeah, that they're turning it into an HBO series, the first one.
The treatment that's occurring. Oh my God! If we get a massively expanded universe in Last of Us 2, imagine what that can do for the HBO treatment and how much. Not only tons of jobs generated, but I mean fans. I love this shit far too much.
Yeah.
And I only get to see Hugh Jackman die again on screen. If he can die like Wolverine, but as Joel,
oh my God.
I'm such a nerd.
No, that's great. But anyway, that's what I hope for it.
Sure, absolutely. We're at an hour, and we're at about an hour, and you mentioned that you didn't have all the time in the world. I do have a few more questions, though. I'd be remiss, first of all.
Hey!
There you go. Got Stan in it.
That you reminded me actually of probably one of the happiest days of my life. As a Disney cast member, we are allowed to go to the Disney studio lot whenever we want to because we're all Disney cast members. So, you just have your Blue ID. You can go to the commissary or the store or whatever. It's a really nice perk of working for the company. I'm getting So as a bonus, cast members are allowed to a few times a year take a guest onto the lot with them to go explore and to go walk around. And it's so historic and it's just so cool to see everything because it's still, that is the studio that's still working right now, So just being on that lot, you can feel the energy of it feels like a very calm college campus because it's it's lined with trees. There's really nice grass everywhere. The buildings are super well designed. Everyone's in a very relaxed pace. Very different from the theme park. Very different energy, but you can just you can feel underneath it somebody's discussing the next Star Wars project. Somebody's talking about the next animated project. Somebody's talking about Disney Plus. You can just feel that those meetings are happening at various places around the lot and important people.
I can feel Bob Iger around here somewhere.
I actually did see him walk by when I was there one time. Yeah.
You met the most powerful man.
I didn't meet him, but I did see him walking. He was on a phone call. But that lot is where the hub is of everything is. So I took my brother to the studio, and we were in this central area called the Legends Plaza, which is the Disney Legend Award. Is an award that's given to. It's the highest honor that the Walt Disney Company can give, which is if you've contributed significantly to the Walt Disney Company in some way, then they give you this really awesome statue. You get your hands imprinted in a plaque that then gets put on one of the pillars in the Legends Plaza. So you're always remembered as somebody that contributed to the company.
Mhm.
So we were walking around looking at all the handprints and the signatures and everything, and it was really cool. And my brother and I worked through, and then was a couple of people walked by us, not as part of anything super significant, but just a couple of people walked by, and we looked back, and
No shit.
I was like, man, Willie, that guy looks a lot like Stan Lee, doesn't it? And we were like, yeah, I think it might be Stan Lee. And so we walked up to him and whoever he was with, and
you bugged him, yeah.
We did. We were like, my brother was like, we were like, excuse me. He was like, yes. And we were like, are you Stan Lee? And he was like, well, that depends. Are you enemies of Stan Lee?
Stan Lee.
And we were like, no. And he's like, are you someone that wants to have Stan Lee beaten up? We're like, no, sir, we're not. He's like, then yes, I'm Stan Lee.
Oh, God.
What
and so he took a picture with us, and we got his autograph. And that picture is one of my profile pictures on my Facebook, which is still there, and I love it. It's me and my brother and Stan Lee. And that's the first time I ever met him in my life, and it's the best time. I met him a couple more times, and I have his autograph on a few of my graded comics in my collection that I will never let anyone breathe on. But
no, and oxygen provides wear, tear, and rust, dude.
yeah. So, but that was an amazing. So anyway, that's just my Stanley first meeting story that I will never ever forget.
That's so awesome.
Do you tell that story at conventions?
I've never been in a convention setting where I can tell that story. I've told it to friends of mine, but that's another cool goal of mine is to just be in a panel. What's happened yet? But I feel like close.
I mean,
I feel like you're close.
there's so many cons, small, medium, large, that especially like if Voltron being featured, you might be able to find yourself invited and to that sure it's a Voltron panel, sure, but it's still you on a panel, so there's a lot of ways to do it. I'm sure you know how.
Yeah. But I love that story, the other thing I mentioned is I found, this is just me geeking out about a Stanley like memento that my favorite one. I found Spider-Man number 50 at my comic shop, which is it's the one where Spider-Man's like walking away from himself and says Spider-Man no more.
I know. What?
So I got it. It wasn't in like incredible shape, but great enough shape that I still bought it. I paid $100 for it, and I love it. I got it graded. It's at a 3 out of 10, which again, I don't care. I know it's not the best, but the reason it means so much to me is it's mine. I own it. It's my favorite comic ever, and I sent it away to get it graded, and it's actually a CGC authenticated because it has Stan Lee's signature on it, and it has John Romita Sr.'s signature on it. So the author and the artist.
Wow.
So so I hold that very close to me.
Man, that's fascinating. So you clearly you've met some people.
Yeah.
Have you met I'm sure you can see him above me. Have you met the man himself, Robert Downey Jr.?
I have not. No.
No.
I think the closest I got was I was at Disneyland working, and I was aware that the Avengers made a surprise appearance to promote the movie in California Adventure, but I wasn't actually there. I wasn't near where they were. So like that's as close as I've ever gotten to RDJ. But
man, I gotta ask, considering that you clearly want to be in the MCU. I mean, who doesn't want to be in the MCU?
Yeah.
What's your dream casting character that you would like to play, or you could choose to have someone play that role?
Ooh, that's a great question. There's somebody that I would want to. I mean, all the great roles that I want to play. I think that's not true. If I had the chance to be in the MCU, I think that I would want to be, if they ever do a Miles Morales live action anything, that's
You would 100%. Be great Miles Morales.
I would love it so much. I mean, I couldn't believe that the character even existed when I first learned about him. I was like, what? Black Spider-Man. This is so cool. But that's what I love about. That's why Spider-Man's my favorite, and I love about the lore of the character and what Stan Lee has said is he's like once you put the mask on, it can be anybody. Anybody can be this. And so, yeah, I think that'd be my number one choice for MCU glory is being Miles Morales, Spider-Man.
How about non-main character, supporting character? If you could pick a character like, man, you'd make him great Nick Fury.
Oh, that'd be so much fun.
Young Nick Fury, you could totally do that.
That'd be great. I'm trying to think of other ones. I think, man, really anyone like, at this point in my life, I think any like younger version of certain things, like maybe a younger, anyone from the Black Panther universe or anybody from, I'm trying to think of other people.
I want to do.
Drax. I think it's a great thing. It's so vast. The Marvel universe is so vast.
And especially with like having all these Kree warriors being multi-ethnic, you could easily play. Look at Michael Rosenbaum. He played a dude made of glass, right? And
yeah.
That's you don't have to be like white. You can animated.
You're an alien.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's. I mean, I loved when I learned who Taika Waititi was, and seeing the character he played in his Thor movie. Just so I love things like that too.
Kooky characters.
Kooky characters, or if I could voice a character that is an alien like that, but featured in the MCU, that'd be a huge dream of mine. And I'm lucky that he is doing now because that opens up channels for me because for the company. So anyway, there's a lot of possibility.
Well, Wes, given your talent, man, look at Michael B. Jordan. You and he have so much in common because he can do it all right, and you easily play Creed's son. You do that. All you have to you have to learn how to box. But you're only capable of what you it's like the great late Bruce Lee said. No way is way, and no limitation is. You only limit yourself. So you really have. You're not getting in your own way. You don't seem like a big boozer, which is definitely how you get in your own way. And I imagine you're not, staying out too late because your voice. Sorry, right?
Yeah. Yep. I've always been very focused. Not that I start out a social life, but I know what I want. I know what I'm going for, and I'm not letting anything I'm not letting anyone or anything deter me from pushing forward for what I want to do. Because I know that this is a very tenuous career. I know that nothing's guaranteed at any point. So knowing that is fine. I've accepted that. But the reward is way too much, way too good for me to not keep doing this. So.
Yeah, that's. Look at that. You're all grown up.
There you go.
Well, not all. We're definitely. You seem like you'd
I
be
mean,
a
we're
lot
all
of fun.
in our 30s, so.
You seem like you'd be a lot of fun to get hammered with. That's for sure. So many impressions. All right. So before we get out of here, I was wondering if we could play a game. Okay. And it'll just be rapid fire answers as some of the most favorite characters that you've played. And it'll be nothing too inappropriate, or not at all, actually. But I was wondering if you can do Barack Obama talking about how much he loves the Avengers.
Well, the thing is, you gotta know that our country is all about people coming together, and the Avengers embody that very spirit, coming together, having a unified cause, and defeating people in the face of adversity.
Oh my God!
So,
thank you, Mr. President. All right, and now can you do Christopher Walken talking about how much he loves the rides at Disneyland?
Well, you know how to get wet. You just gotta get stashed by rocks. They're wrapped. All the breads, they're all there for you to share as much as you care to wear when you go there.
Oh my God. Can you do Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow talking about how much he loathes the Pirates of the Caribbean ride because he's trapped as that character on the ride?
It's the same again, mate. You don't get to do anything else. You say the same songs, you say the same lines, you see the same people over and over, and then these little mouse ears coming through in the water. They don't even give you the churros, mate. We're hungry. We haven't eaten in days. There's no rum. What would you think?
Oh my God. Oh, honey, do you have any requests?
No, I'm good.
Oh, all right. Can you do
Okay, last one, honey.
last one? Sorry, I can do this all day. Can you do Andrew Dice Clay talking about how much he likes the park food?
I would if I knew who that was, but I can't do Andrew talking about that.
Man, it's definitely one to get under your belt. He's a comic, really, really offensive. I do suggest it. Isaac, my man, this was.
And then I do enjoy his Morgan Freeman if you want to.
Oh,
that.
please.
Oh, yeah,
Hit it. Oh,
that's
God.
a good one.
Oh, God.
Park food. Okay.
Your favorite park food? How about that?
Well, the thing is, there really is nothing better than just walking into the Candy Palace on going up to the counter and ordering a nice soft chocolate chip cookie with that sea salt. Truly is nothing better. It's like a party in your mouth. Disneyland you to the greatest culinary experience of your entire life. Chocolate.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Before we go, is there anything you want to plug?
Not really. I mean, I would say check out Final Fantasy VII, but everyone is. But my Instagram is IRS Voices at IRS Voices. I'm on Facebook, and that's about all for me for social media. But you can find me there, and yeah, you can come see me at Disneyland Park in various shows. And what's that?
Once it reopens.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I sing, like I said, I sing in the Dapper Dans. And I'm really good friends with Mr. Jones in storytelling at the Royal Theater near the castle. And I'm also in pretty big cahoots with the First Order in Galaxy's Edge now. So if you happen to be by there, and Kylo Ren makes an appearance, and I'm somebody that appears like me might be around. But yeah, so check out the First Order while you're at Galaxy's Edge.
Do you want to do a sign off as your favorite First Order character?
Let's see. Just remember what you're on this earth to do, and don't let anyone tell you different.
That was awesome.
That's fantastic. Isaac, this has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Of course.
We'll have to get you back on. Please be safe. And where are you in back home in Northern California, or are you in Los Angeles?
I'm in LA. Yeah.
Oh, damn. Wash your hands a lot, right?
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Be safe.
I'm on my mask in the mail. So.
There you go.
All right, my man. You take care now.
You too. All right. I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.